All right, that does it! I'm sick of this shit, and I'm not taking it any longer! You all pushed me to this!
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Prior to the Paris Olympics, Imane Khelif had failed multiple gender tests and was banned from major tournaments at boxing. Imane was also booted out of 2023 World Championship after failing testosterone test important to establish gender qualification. However, the International Olympic Committee allowed Imane Khelif to participate in Paris Summer Games. While the internet has been quick to label and accuse Imane Khelif as biological male or transgender, which I accidentally did in my previous video, Imane reportedly has a condition called differences of sexual development, known as DSD.
So the NHS say that DSD is a group of rare genetic conditions involving genes, hormones and reproductive organs, including the genitals. It means a person's sex development is different to other people's. 46XY DSD is the opposite. You have male chromosomes, but the external genitals might look like the usual male or female. However, they might have a womb and testicles. They may not work properly. The scrotum might appear as two really small sacs, and the urethra might be in a different place. It could be under the penis, if there is one.
Due to this condition, Imane Khelif's chromosomes developed into X and Y, that is male chromosome, and Imane has higher testosterone compared to female athletes. In other words, Imane is not transgender, but they also aren't definitively a biological female or a biological male. What Imane does have is an advantage due to a higher testosterone level than females that don't have DSD.
And the women's category is needed to give those who will not get the benefits of androgenization, which is basically testosterone during puberty and adolescence, the chance to compete in sport. Women's sport is a protected class for good reasons, and these boundary lines cannot be broken. Androgen literally means male making, and what these hormones do, at least from the perspective of sports performance, is to drive what are called secondary sex characteristics. They include lean mass, strength and power, reduced fat mass, stronger bones, larger hearts, increased hemoglobin, skeletal structure, and more. Watch my film on whether females can beat the males in sport, and you will realise that without the protected category, or sport, with very few exceptions, would be completely male-dominated at the elite level. No woman would even qualify for the Olympic Games. There is an exception in equestrian events. No woman would ever get a scholarship. There would be no potential for an upset, like a woman winning. Just about every elite level of sport would be completely male. Given that women's sport has historically been discriminated against, and indeed women in wider society have been too, females are now well on their way to complete equality in sport. It makes sense to defend the line that separates the classes. Without the category, as just mentioned, about half the world's population suddenly lose the opportunity to win in elite sport.
This is the reason behind Imane Khelif failing the gender tests. Under DSD, a person's chromosomes and physical characteristics are affected, hence labeling a DSD person as biological male or biological female is wrong.
And so there are many people who have a DSD who will have an experience that is cisgender, meaning they are mostly typically female, they experience themselves as female, and they present themselves as female, and there are people who may identify as being L, G, and B. There are also some individuals who have a sex assignment at birth based on the best information that's available, and then ultimately decide that that gender doesn't work for them, so they may have an experience that's trans. So
allowing Imane to compete in boxing or any sports with biological females is ultimately wrong, since Imane is not technically a biological male or a biological female. If anything, due to Imane having the Y chromosome with much higher testosterone levels than a biological female, then Imane should be competing in boxing with biological males. It is obvious as to why Imane has chosen to compete with biological females, though, since Imane knows they have a much higher chance of winning against a female than they would a male.